This is Ira, and welcome to Ocean Liners on Print, where I travel through ocean liner history via my collection of ocean liner memorabilia. Today, we're going to uncover a near ocean liner's secret of over 90 years. The mention of the American export lines brings thoughts of the four aces, which are the Exocorda, the Excambian, Exeter, and the Excalibur. They also bring memories of the Atlantic and, of course, the stylish Independence and Constitution. I'm about to expose 21 ships that are not mentioned in my vast collection of ocean liner books. If one searches the names of these ships online, they may get some of the names, but little additional information. The brochure I'm going to highlight today sheds light on this extensive fleet within the American Export Lines fleet, referred to as the Vagabond Fleet. Before we examine the American Export Lines brochure, Vagabond Mediterranean Cruises, hit the subscribe button.
Let's go back to 1933 for the publication of this provocative brochure titled Vagabond Mediterranean Cruises. Underneath it says, roaming the Mediterranean for less than it costs to live at home. Well, this was a time where we were at the height of the Depression, so cost was a very big thing. Opening the brochure to the first page reveals the slogan, it costs less than living at home. Imagine cruising the Mediterranean at less than $5 a day. Another quote, in large area above deck outside staterooms located amidship, the best the ship affords, close quote. So all cabins are outside, meaning they had portholes to allow natural light. In regular ocean liners, they had many inside staterooms that lacked portholes. Quote, in one class, unrestricted, run of the ship's accommodations. Close quote. Most ships of the day had people assigned to various classes based on what they paid, and thus could only occupy the part of the ship they were assigned because of class. Eager to see the many historic places, be acquainted at first hand with strange peoples you have read about ever since school days, and buy curious knickknacks for friends back home and for your own treasure chest. Today, it would not be acceptable to refer to people of another unfamiliar group as strange, and I guess this is also where they come up with the phrase curios for curious knickknacks. Another quote here, it will prove less of a drain on your purse than living at home, close quote. I love the choice of words. Who wants the purse strain? Quote, the low cost is due to the fact that these ships depend on their profit chiefly on their rich cargoes of copper, tin plate, machinery, radios, spark plugs, paraffin, olive oil, citrons, almonds, sumac, marble chips, and other commodities. Close quote. Then another quote, these heavy cargoes give the ships unusual steadiness. Weighted down as they are with their load, they ride the seas with an equilibrium which is a new experience for the transatlantic traveler. Close quote. While these ships were much smaller than a standard passenger ship, the brochure explains that the weight of the freight carried makes the ship extremely stable for its size. Here's another quote. A considerable number of passengers on these boats are veteran European voyagers attracted by the novelty and unusual itineraries of the Vagabond cruises. Close quote. Continuing with that thought, quote, you will probably find such seasoned travelers among your fellow passengers. In fact, the congeniality of your shipmates on these cruises is an advantage due directly to the unique character of these liners. The cargo being the chief revenue producer, the number of passengers is necessarily limited so that only a select group of from 12 to 35 can be accommodated. The club-like intimacy of the small group enhances the pleasure of the cruise and visits ashore, and often leads to lasting friendships. Close quote. If this is what you are looking for, this could be a good thing. Without laying claim to any of the sumptuous frills or spectacular features of the big liners, these American export steamers appeal primarily to the genuine type of traveler who prefers simple home-like comforts, steady smooth sailing, the leisurely jaunt from port to port with ample time for visits ashore, and the camaraderie of a house party of intelligent, likable fellow travelers. That this will satisfy your craving, your voyage to the Mediterranean cruise will prove on a Vagabond cruise to be one of the most delightful experiences of your life. Look at the sample menu. Nice offerings. They're cooking for only 12 to 35 people. So how many choices can they offer compared to a large ship? But here they have stuffed olives, sea bass, veal croquettes, and coconut fritters. Here's a slogan, quote, roaming the Mediterranean like vagabonds of old with the comforts of today, close quote. Quote, a Vagabond cruise on the American export lines offers an intriguing combination of the liner's fixed schedule with the flexibility of a yacht. It resembles the delightful uncertainty of ships of old, which stayed long enough in each port to unload and load their freight and never quite know how long this would take. Close quote. Next quote. In fact, the passengers on one of these Vagabond cruises is often in doubt as to the next port of call. Close quote. Next quote. For good reason that the captain does not know. Is that reassuring? That the captain doesn't know where the ship is going to? I don't know. Wouldn't be reassuring to me, that's for sure. Next quote. Certain principal ports are sure to be covered, but other stops depend on whether commitments of freight require them, and the itinerary will vary. Close quote. Quote. An approximate schedule of the stops is available in advance for each cruise, usually for the first half or outward portion of the voyage. The boats are under contract with Uncle Sam to deliver the U.S. mail to various Mediterranean ports. This contract is fulfilled on a definite itinerary during the first part of the trip. Close quote. Next quote. Once this is done, the rest of the cruise is more variable and leisurely, and the traveler usually gets a number of extra stops thrown in for good measure, which were not promised in advance. Hence, a cruise which is described as lasting from 60 to 75 days mean that it will most likely take more than the allotted 60 days with no extra charge to the passengers. Close quote. Nothing like getting more than you paid for. If you look at the four cruises, cruise A, B, C, or D, these ships are slow. If it takes 13 days to go from New York to Casablanca, 19 days from New York to Piraeus, or 17 days from New York to Genoa, these ships probably have a speed of about 9 to 11 knots, which is slow compared to a regular passenger ship that can make a crossing of the Atlantic, let's say to Casablanca, in 7 to 8 days or less, cruising at 20 to 22 knots. Or the Queen Mary or Queen Elizabeth at 28.5 knots, which could cross the Atlantic in 5 days. These ships are very slow. Quote, the boat is yours. Make yourself at home is the spirit of the Vagabond cruise management towards every passenger. You soon discover that you are free and as comfortable as if you were on your own yacht or houseboat, close quote. They're making assumptions that people are living at a certain lifestyle. Quote, every ship has shower, baths, with hot and cold running water always immediately available. But guess what? they're saying that the ships have these facilities. They're not saying that the cabins have these facilities, because guess what? The cabins, or shall I say staterooms, lack private facilities. Next quote: when weather permits, an open air swimming pool on the Exarch, the Excelonia, and the Excelsior is rigged up on deck. Back in the day, many ships lacked outdoor swimming pools, so some ships had to rig up portable pools made out of canvas and rope. Quote: there is plenty of room for deck sports, and in a small group like this, there is more gaiety and ingenuity in devising games than is likely to be your lot on a big liner. Close quote. Next quote: every room in a vagabond boat is a cool, airy outside room. There isn't an inside room on the entire fleet. Close quote. So all staterooms on these ships as outside have portholes and let in natural light. Quote: only the superstructure in the middle of the ship, the choicest part of any boat, is used for passenger accommodations. Close quote. Most passenger ships have passenger space most of the length of the ship. First class has the middle of the ship, or the midship, the most stable part of the ship and most desirable. The aft has the vibration from the propellers, and the forward section rocks the most. Quote: for those who want to occupy rooms alone, single rooms are available in many instances. Close quote. Quote: families with small children frequently travel on these cruises, and there is every facility for catering to their needs. Close quote. Quote: there is a radio or Victrola, sometimes both, on every ship, and indoor and outdoor amusements to suit every taste. Close quote. Now, having a Victrola or a radio or both makes me want to put a deposit on a cruise. Quote: the food and dining room service on the Vagabond cruises are the management's special pride, long experience in catering to the particular wants of passengers and wisdom in knowing what is best and most wholesome in the Mediterranean climes are shown in every menu. Close quote. Next quote: passengers are loud in their praise of the generous portions, variety of choice, and wholesome preparation of foods. In addition to the staple American dishes, you will be offered certain seasonal native delicacies of the lands you are visiting. Close quote. Now, we have ships that sail from Pier F, New Pennsylvania Terminal, Exchange Place in Jersey City, New Jersey. These are the Exhibitor, Excelsior, Exporter, Exmouth, Exmont, Exsyria, Examalia, Exchange, Exarch, Exporter, Excelonia, and the Executive. Page 7, the slogan, quote: carrying just long enough in these picturesque Mediterranean ports, close quote. Have you heard of Mediterranean ports like Leghorn, Melilla, Mytilene, Oran, San Filou, or Sfax? Check out the plans. What detail? First, we have deck plans for the Exarch, Excelona, and Excelsior. Then we have deck plan for the Exanthia, deck plan for the Exporter, deck plan for the Executive and Exmouth. Then the deck plan for the Examelia, Examiner, Excello, Excellency, Exchange, Exchester, Exermont, Exhibitor, Exsyria, Exminster, Exmoor, Express, Extavia, and Exton. Here we have mention of the four aces: the Excambian, Exeter, Execorta, and Excalibur. It says here, first class only, quote, no restrictions or segregation of passengers, close quote. Maybe they could have changed that saying a little bit to say all passengers have full run of the ship. Doesn't that sound better? Another feature, all staterooms outside amidship. The same features of the Vagabond ships. And now for general information. Head tax. All aliens purchasing westbound tickets are subject to the United States government tax of $8 per passenger. Well, that's a lot of money for an immigrant in 1933, 1934. Valuables. The corporation is not responsible for the theft of valuables or money kept in the stateroom. Valuables or money may be kept in the safe care of the master. So, what does that mean? Is the master trustworthy? Automobiles. Automobiles are only carried to the first port of call. Beyond the first port of call, automobiles must be boxed. Pets. Suitable accommodations will be provided for dogs and cats and other pets. The rates are dogs $15, cats $5. No, pets of any kind are not allowed in staterooms or public rooms. Such pets must be left in the sole charge of the ship's personnel. Close quote.